Daryl just takes off with Merle.
He had his reasons.
Yeah. You keep telling yourself that, Rick. Doesn't change the fact that we're up to our necks in shit.
You want me to turn the car around, beg him to come back, throw down a welcome mat from Merle? This is the hand we've been dealt!
Hit the brakes.
Glenn keeps his eyes to the floor. This is a common cue associated with people who are feeling guilt, remorse, and sadness. In this context, at least. Glenn is clearly deeply saddened by what has happened to Maggie, and that Daryl has abandoned the group. He's thinking about all the things that went wrong. He then kills a zombie as a way to vent his anger and frustration that has built up inside of him. Both Rick and Maggie are exhibiting the freeze response. Remember, a stressor doesn't have to be something that can physically harm us. Seeing Glenn acting like this is the stressor, and their sympathetic nervous system causes them to show the freeze response. As they try and take in more information about the situation, Glenn is not behaving as usual, and both Rick and Maggie are trying to process what's going on before taking action, which is why they freeze.
You didn't kill him.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you are enjoying this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button as it helps the channel out massively. Thanks. Rick, the group leader, changes his proxemics and gives Glenn a wide berth when walking to him. This is deliberate and is because he doesn't want Glenn to feel excess stress. He's giving him more room so that he doesn't feel any more pressure. He also has his head tilted, which is a universal sign of giving high attention. Rick is trying to understand desperately what's going on. Rick then does what's called a distancing behavior. He looks away from Glenn when he says you didn't kill him. This clearly causes Rick stress, and his brain causes him to look away as a result of this.
That's not why we went back.
No. That's right, you went back for Daryl. And now he's gone again, and the governor is still alive.
Daryl was the priority.
I should have been there with you.
Rick here exhibits rapid head and eye movement. He's trying to process what's going on, and we do this to get more information about our surroundings in order to improve the chances of survival. Maggie is doing a grounding behavior here. She has her arms resting on the car, which is a strong sign of insecurity and a lack of confidence. She's troubled by what has happened, and doesn't really show it. She stays calm and collected, unlike Glenn. However, it does slip through with this grounding behavior. When we feel insecure and lack confidence, we try and find something to give us support. We lean on walls, tables, and chairs in order to give ourselves a boost in confidence and to reduce our anxiety. When Glenn mentioned the governor's name, his whole face tenses up. This is a very good bit of detail. Glenn simply thinking about him causes him high amounts of stress. We tense our face to combat the shaking caused by the buildup of stress. He also pairs this with a distancing behavior. He's desperately trying to distract himself when talking about the governor, showing just how annoyed he is at him. And when Rick tries to speak back at Glenn, he distances also. He doesn't want to argue with his friend and distances as a way to calm himself down.
You were in no condition. But my girlfriend was?
Glenn, this isn't about us.
Yeah. I should have been there.
Hey, you didn't come back with us because you could barely walk.
What about her?
What about me?
Do you know what he did to her? Do you know?
Rick tenses his mouth when Glenn says, "but my girlfriend was." This is him trying to speak back at Glenn, but he also holds it in whilst he thinks of what to say. It's really accurate and detailed body language. Glenn again distances and clenches his teeth together. This is called bruxism and is common with people who experience high levels of stress and anger. We clench our teeth together to combat the shaking caused by the stress or anger. Rick changes his proxemics and does open body language to try and convey to Glenn his point of view. Notice how his posture lowers, he leans down. This is a subtle signal showing that he's not being a threat to Glenn. He isn't attacking him. When we lean down and lower our posture, it's an act of submission. The opposite of when we try and act dominant by making ourselves bigger. He's basically telling Glenn, I'm not trying to hurt you. When Glenn responds back incredibly angry, Rick changes his proxemics again to get away from him. He's giving him space and trying not to be intimidating or threatening. He also displays his hands so that Glenn doesn't feel threatened. Basically, when we try and hide our hands, it makes other people uneasy as you could be reaching for a weapon. Rick makes sure to keep his hands very visible in order to not escalate the situation. The police should really be trained in this stuff.
Let's go!
After all that effort, all the risk we took, Daryl just takes off with Merle.
Glenn then breathes heavily and distances again. He's trying to suppress the intense anger and frustration that he's feeling by pacifying and distancing. He then rolls his tongue around his mouth, which is another pacifying behavior. He's again trying to calm himself down. Glenn's face tenses again here when he says Merle's name. Like when he mentioned the governor, he tries to suppress the shaking of his muscles caused by the stress. His baseline behavior seems to be that he tenses his whole face, whereas others may only tense their mouths. It varies person by person. Rick then distances again with his eyes.
He had his reasons.
Yeah, you keep telling yourself that, Rick. Doesn't change the fact that we're up to our necks in shit.
You want me to turn the car around, beg him to come back, throw down a welcome mat from Merle? This is the hand we've been dealt!
When Rick says that he had his reasons, he tenses his brow. This is a sign of confusion and doubt. He doesn't agree with his reasons at all, but nods to affirm to Glenn that he is allowed to make his own decisions, despite disagreeing with them. Rick also has one hand on his hip, which is a common sign of anger and frustration. Glenn is annoying him, which causes him to show this gesture. He also looks to the floor again, which is him, I think, reflecting on the terrible situation that they're in. Rick then changes his proxemics to get closer to Glenn, and Glenn actually backs away from him. This is either him being submissive or trying not to escalate the situation further. Although Glenn disagrees with Rick and is annoyed at him, Rick demonstrates his authority and he backs down. This is why he doesn't respond to what Rick has said. Rick makes his point very clear by raising his voice and getting super close to him. He's basically saying, I'm in charge, stop whining.
Let's just get this out of here and get back. Get some rest, we can talk it out there.
You guys do all the talking you want. I'm done.
Maggie then tries to ease the situation by talking, which works. It stops the awkward silence after that. Now this scene is really interesting as it shows the different dynamics of the characters. Rick is the group leader and that's shown very accurately with his body language. He shows concern for Glenn but makes sure to assert his authority over him to keep him in line. Glenn's body language also reflects this. He backs down when Rick does this, which is accurate when you factor in the fact that Rick is the leader, not Glenn. It's a really good and well acted scene with awesome levels of detail in the body language. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.